all of these faces once again. Miss Mercedes Munoz and Herbie, good to see you guys. Yes, okay, Woodlawn family, we are so glad that you are all here tonight to celebrate our young artists and young poets. Okay, so right off the bat, why don't we give it up for our Woodlawn students right now. My name is Chris Reiser, and I teach middle school language arts and social studies here at Woodlawn. This year I'm teaching the 7th grade.
I'm Miles Robinson. Last year I served here as a Playworks coach. I'm currently a paraeducator in a CB 3rd grade to 5th grade classroom.
Yeah, so we're going to be your MCs tonight. We're going to guide you through this lovely evening of poetry and art. You can see some of the art is already displayed right here in the room. That was done with the lovely Mrs. Simpson, our K-5 art teacher, who next year will be full-time. Let's give it up.
Let's hear it, let's hear it.
So now our middle schoolers get the same lovely art experience that our K-5 kids have enjoyed for the last few years. That's really an incredible thing, yes. Okay, so we're going to take a break after we hear some poetry, and that'll give you guys an opportunity to use the bathroom, to get another snack, and also to get to tour the art that is displayed in the main hallway here. And as well, at the end of the art display, down right before you get to the cafeteria in the hallway, we have Dr. Jamie Rapaski here. She is this year's STEAM consultant. STEAM is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, and we are exploring the possibility of Woodlawn becoming a STEAM school. So she has a display back there to talk about some of the things that we could do as a STEAM school here at Woodlawn. So be sure, as you're perusing the beautiful artwork that your students have made, to check out Jamie Rapaski's display over there. She's got a lot of really good information, and I think you'll be excited about that opportunity.
Sounds like the way tonight is going to go, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to start off with kindergartners. Every kindergartner student, when we announce kindergartners are going to be up next, we'd like the kindergartners maybe to slowly start making their way to the front. After all the kindergartners are done, we'll go through the grades, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and up into the mid-level students. Maybe we'll get we'll be lucky enough to hear a freestyle from the one and only Chris Reiser. Just saying.
Okay, so again, if the kinders want to move up, if you know that you're a kinder with Teacher Aubrey or Mr. Cunningham, then you want to just kind of move up so that you're ready to go when we call your name. And 1st grade, you guys also probably want to make your way up and be ready to come up to the stage, because we just have a couple of kinder performances this evening. Okay? Right. Okay, so for our first poem, called Tiger, that is going to be performed by Jordan, Cameron, and Christian from Teacher Aubrey's class. You guys want to come on up?
Also, if any parents are interested in getting a good photo opportunity with their kids, we do have a designated chair right up here in the front, so you don't have anybody blocking your camera. If you have a child or student performing, feel free to come up to the chair. Students try to stay out of that blue sweater.
Okay. All right. And so, thank you guys for coming on up. We'll reintroduce you in just a second. So listen, those of you who are performing tonight, when we call you up to the stage, we want you to make your way over here to the right side of the stage from where you guys are sitting, and you'll be coming up the stairway here right by the rocking chair, okay? So when we call your name, we want you to come up on this side of the stage, okay? Let's give it up one more time for Jordan and Cameron.
Tigers wear a scary face with stripes upon their coats
second tonight's poetry slam is going to be Evelyn Cedillo and Jalea Crane.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again.
All right. Okay, yeah, this is, hey, you know, this is all about getting the student perspective, right? This next one is, we have a poem from Olivia L. Olivia L., do you want to come on up? All right, Olivia.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. I wonder what you are. Up above. The world so high, like the diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. How I wonder what you are.
Great job, Olivia, great job. Up next, we have Maya, Cameron, and Rio. Let's hear it for Maya, Cameron, and Rio. All right. Can we put our hands together for kindergarten one more time? Good job. And first up, to represent first grade, from Miss Peterson's class, we have Aaliyah Coleman. Let's hear it for Aaliyah Coleman.
Special in turn, I put the bad things behind. Like when she ain't my true, no matter what happens, I'll always love her. I'll put the bad things behind. So she is so special in my heart, so I will never forget her in my mind. So let's have a great time and do what's right and celebrate all the time. She's a special as a kid, and there is nothing that can stop me from loving my dog.
Okay, so that was an original poem by Aaliyah, called My Dog Peaches. Next, from Miss Sally's class, we're going to hear a poem called Roses by Nalaya Thompson. Nalaya, thank you. Nalaya Thompson, come on up.
Roses are red, violets are blue, sugar is sweet, and so are you. The blossom blows away with excitement. Love is in the air. Love and laughs are everywhere.
That was wonderful, Nalaya. Thank you. Next up, from Miss Sally's class, we have Natalie Corona Sanchez. Let's go, Natalie.
I wrote myself. A day in summer, the roses are red and the flowers are yellow. In the summer, I can smell the breeze and the birds are humming and the eggs are cracking and the sun is high in the sky. In the summer, the rain is always there to help the roses and the flowers grow in the summer.
Next for ourselves, please. Thank you. Okay, next up, we are moving into second grade. So second graders, you want to get ready to go because this is your time to shine. Okay, first we have an original poem. It says, "Did you write it?" And it says, "Yes," with an exclamation point in all capitals. And this is by Akira Robinson. Akira, you want to come up?
Pink bird, there is a blue bird, there is a green bird, there is a purple bird, there is a gray bird, and there is a pink pig.
Okay, so to clarify my call for second grade, if all of the students who are performing tonight from Miss Nelson's class want to head over this way to Teacher Abby Peterson, right over here, okay? Let me just ask, is Shahida Lowe here? She hasn't checked in yet? Okay, so next up from Miss Nelson's class, we have a poem titled "Spring is Here." And to read that poem for us is Hannah Georgeson. Come on up.
Spring is here. Spring is here, spring is here. Goodbye snow, flowers grow. Birds and bees, leaves on trees. Hello spring, hello spring.
All right, and next up, from Miss Nelson's class, reading her poem called "Welcome Back to School," we have Katie Sanchez Rocha. Let's hear it for Katie.
Dear students, summer has ended, the school year at last has begun. But this year is totally different. I promise we'll only have fun. We won't study any mathematics, and recess will last all day long. Instead of the Pledge of Allegiance, we'll belt out a rock and roll song. We'll only play games in the classroom. You're welcome to bring in your toys. It's okay to run in the hallways. It's great if you make lots of noise. For homework, you'll play your Nintendo. You'll have to watch lots of TV. For field trips, we'll go to the movies and get lots of candy for free. The lunchroom will only serve chocolate and triple fudge sundae supreme. Yes, that's what I heard from my teacher before I woke up from my dream.
Some students are, some of our kids are noticing the imperfections in the carpet here. We want to minimize distraction for our artists. Okay, next up, we have a recitation of the poem "Chocolate Maniac" by the one and only Marilyn Munoz. Come on up.
Chocolate Maniac. I love my mother, I love my dad. I love my brother, though he drives me mad. My teacher, she's fine and dandy, but I really love my chocolate candy. I eat it when it's hot, I eat it when it's cold. I eat it when it's fresh and I eat it when it's old. I eat it by the ounce and I eat it by the pound. I eat it at the table and I eat it off the ground. I eat it and I eat it till my belly's gonna pop. Then I eat a little more, I just don't know how to stop. I love that chocolate tastes also gooey, sweet, and thick, but I eat in way too much and I feel a little sick. I have to take control. I have to learn to stop. I have to take control. I'll give chocolate up forever when I'm 99 years old.
And that was amazing. And now, we have, from Miss Nelson's class, reading the poem titled "Today," Miss Cameron Finch.
Today is the day. This is the one. Today is the day. We'll learn and have fun. Today you will grow. Today you will be kind. Today is important, so don't leave it behind. Let's never stop. We better get busy before we all pop.
Okay, next up we have "Jesus Loves Me" by India Green. India, come on up.
Jesus loves me because I know, because the Bible tells me so. Because Jesus looks after me day and night. So I look and pray every night. And when I Jesus told his dad thing, I still be half excited. Jesus always loves me.
Right, that's it for Miss Nelson's class. Let's hear it from Miss Nelson's class one more time. And with that, we are now moving on to Miss Parker's second grade class. If you are a second grader in Miss Parker's second grade class, if you could kindly and quietly move over here, kind of where the cookies were, that would make things go a lot easier. First up, from Miss Parker's class, is Micaiah Rain, reading her poem titled Welcome to Class.
Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back to the poetry slam. Now sit back and relax and have a good time at the poetry slam. Welcome back, Woodlawn Wildcats.
Another round of applause for Micaiah representing Woodlawn in her original poem. Yeah. Okay, so next up tonight from Ms. Parker's class, we have the kindergarten concert performed by the one and only Lillian Umfritz. Lillian, come on.
The kindergarten concert. The kindergarten concert was an interesting show. Peter walked onto the stage and yelled, "I have to go." Katie was embarrassed, but she had nowhere to hide. She raised her dress to hide her face. Her mother almost died. Keith removed his tie and said, "It's ugly, Dad. I hate it." David picked his nose on stage. The worst was that he ate it. They sang their song and Wyatt burped, and then he did a dance. Michael fell while spinning round. Peter wet his pants. The music teacher at the end said, "There, I'm glad that's done." The kindergarten bowed and said, "Let's sing another one."
Great job. From Ms. Parker's class, we have two students reading a poem that I could use as some advice. The title of this poem is Pick Up Your Room. From Ms. Parker's class, please welcome to the stage Zahara West and Felicia Runner.
Pick up your room, my mother says. She says it every day. My room's too heavy to pick up. That's what I always say. Drink up your milk, she says to me. Don't bubble like a clown. Of course, she knows I'll answer that. I'd rather drink it down. And when she says at 8 o'clock, you must go by to bed, we both repeat my answer. Why not go left instead?
Okay, next up, we have the classic Langston Hughes poem, My People, read by Tony Hobson. Tony, come on.
My people by Langston Hughes. The night is beautiful, so the faces of my people. The stars are beautiful, so the eyes of my people. Beautiful also is the sun. Beautiful also are the souls of my people.
Amazing, Tony. Love that. If I could now have any second graders in Mr. Garza's class slowly move their way towards the stage. There are two more from Ms. Parker's class, and then Mr. Garza's class will begin. So if you're in Mr. Garza's class, please move up toward the front. From Ms. Parker's class, reading a poem called Me, please welcome to the stage Tiana Johnson.
Me by Tiana Johnson. Violets are blue. I sing to myself. The melody works too. My mind goes to a place and fill it with good memories. I like to tell people about me in a poem.
Okay, and the next one is by Tiana Johnson, Zahara West, and Kalisha Warner. It's Colorblind by Kathy Parker, our one and only second grade teacher. Come on up.
Colorblind by Kathy Y. Parker. What does it matter if I'm dark and you are light? We have the same parents and neither of them is white. Why should we care if you have good hair and I have that? Hair doesn't define who we are, we don't have to listen to that. The color of our skin doesn't separate you from me. It's those others who divide us when the color is all that they see. I am your sister and you are my brother. Our blood, not our skin, say we belong to each other.
That was wonderful. That was wonderful. Thank you very much, ladies. I truly enjoyed that.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt. We just have an elderly woman here. Yes, please come sit. Excuse me.
Well, son, I'll tell you. Life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it, and splinters, and boards torn up, in places with no carpet on the floor, bare. But all this time I've been climbing, reaching landings, turning corners, and sometimes going in the dark. Well, there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back. Don't you slide down on that step because you find it's kind of hard. Don't you fall now, for I still going, honey, for I still climbing. And life for me ain't been no crystal stair.
Okay, let's give it up. That was the one and only Hannes Andrews from Miss Leonard's 4th grade class. And the poem that she shared there from memory was Langston Hughes' Mother to Son. Okay, thank you, Hannes, that was incredible. Okay, and next we have, from Mr. Garza's 2nd grade class, a recitation of the poem In La Ketch, which translates, I am you, or you are me. And we're going to hear that poem from Josiah Jointer and his 2nd grade teacher, Mr. Adolfo Garza.
In La Ketch.
I am you, or you are me.
Tú eres mi otro yo.
You are my other me.
Si te hago daño a ti,
If I do harm to you,
me hago daño a mí mismo.
I do harm to myself.
Si te amo y respeto,
If I love and respect you,
me amo y respeto yo.
I love and respect myself.
This is really special to me and Mr. Reiser, as well as every middle school student that joined us for Slam Boo this year. We used to start out every session reading that poem. So, can we put our hands together for that one really quickly? And now representing Mr. Garza's class with her poem called Breathe, we have Tiara Taylor.
It's time to breathe here and there. It's time to breathe everywhere. Breathe in, breathe out. Hear the chimes, ding ding. Hear the chimes, ding ding. Close your eyes, shut them tight. It's going to feel like night. It might feel a little weird, but have no fear and breathe.
So let me just take a second for a quick plug. Those of you who don't know, we did for the first time this year Slam Boo, which is a performance poetry program for middle schoolers that was started by Brian Chu of Lane Middle School and Charles Sanderson, who at the time was at St. Helens Middle School in St. Helens. He's now at Ockley Green. And the purpose of that program was actually to use poetry to build bridges between urban students in Southeast Portland and rural students out in St. Helens. That is now, we just completed our 4th year of touring different middle schools. We go to a middle school each month, and we share poetry. And the emerging slogan that came from one of the students is that it's not about the points, it's about the poetry, and it's about the poets. And it's an incredible program, and we were really honored to be a part of it. This year it was Woodlawn, Ockley Green, St. Helens, Cedar Park in Beaverton, French Prairie in Woodburn, and Lane Middle School. And then we had our final at the old library at Marylhurst University. It was beautiful. They love having us, and there's really powerful poetry. So those of you 5th graders, look forward to Slambu next year, okay? So let's move on, though. Next we have from Mr. Garza's class an original poem called Small Mall by Melissa Kate. Come on up, Melissa.
I was walking down the street. I found something small. I picked it up. I looked inside. It was a small mall. I broke off the corner. I peeked in. I saw little people shopping for clothes. They start yelling, I see a face looking at me. Come in, I said, but they said, but I just ran away.
Right, if I could quickly just ask any 3rd graders in Miss Howard's class to stop being so loud in the hall when I'm sitting in the table. I'm just kidding, but seriously. No, if you are in Miss Howard's class and you're performing, could you walk up to the corner because you're about to be performing pretty soon? From Mr. Garza's class, with his poem called School Day, we have Ranil Sharma.
I tell my teacher through the day my homework's too easy. I just say, for recess, I don't play soccer or climb the slide. I just play tag and run and hide.
From Mr. Garza's class, performing her piece called Believe in Yourself, can I welcome to the stage Zaira Moore.
If you wish upon a star, for sure, you'll know just who you are. So listen, learn. Don't be stubborn. Go out, about, and show who you really are. Don't be afraid to be yourself, believe in yourself, and achieve yourself.
Last but not least, from Mr. Garza's class, we have Alonzo Aguilar with an original poem, Getting Around. Come on up, Alonzo.
Your feet can only walk, or run, or skip, but they are also best for a trip. On skates, and a walk becomes a glide. A skateboard can extend or stride. Need something you can hold on to. A scooter might be right for you.
All right, and first up, to represent Miss Howard's 3rd grade class, with a piece titled Ocean, can I welcome to the stage Ruby Moss.
There's a white green map on a sea turtle's back. Currents, she knows, their flows never slows. Needn't stop her directions wherever she goes, flapping her elegant paddle-shaped toes.
Okay, so just to let you guys know, we're going to hear one more poem from 2 students from Miss Howard's class, and then we're going to take a break, okay? And I'll have one short announcement before we take that break, so if you'll just hang tight after this next poem called Green and Gold, Go Ducks, by Abby Lynn Hanna and Brooklyn Keith. Come on up.
What is green? Green is the grass and the leaves of trees. Green is the smell of a country breeze. Green is lettuce and sometimes the sea. And green is a feeling you pronounce it empty. Green is a cornice you get in the shade under the tall old woods when the moss is made. What is green? What is green? Green is... what is gold? Gold is a metal, gold is a ring. Gold is a very beautiful thing. Gold is the sunshine, light and thin, warm as a muffin on your skin. Gold is the moon, gold are the stars, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, and Mars.
All right, nice job, ladies. Don't get up yet. You know how these poets and artists are. They can just show up at any time. But we don't want to leave out my man Edward Moss from Miss Howard's class before we take a break. And he's got a poem called Bubble Trouble. Give it up for Edward Moss.
Bubble trouble. I bought myself 2 packs of gum. I chewed and chewed some more. I blew in a bubble round and fat and bigger than ever before. I blew and it grew and grew and grew and grew. None of my friends could believe it, the biggest bubble ever blown, and I was the kid to achieve it. I kept on blowing, it kept on growing. When would it ever stop? It all seemed like such an awesome plan until my sister made it pop.
Okay, so now we're going to take a break, but a quick announcement. As you guys go out, we're going to have 10 minutes for you guys to use the restroom, get together and talk with folks maybe you haven't seen for a little while. Check out the artwork, please, in the hallway. Stop by Dr. Jamie Verpaski's booth. And there is the PPS 2025 survey. We want to know what it is that you want from this school district in the next 10 years. Also, if and when you fill that out, parents, we have a raffle of gift cards that were donated to us by SEI. So you fill that survey out and you can enter to get a gift card, okay? So please, we're going to kick up some music here, get a little refreshment, use the restroom, check out your children's artwork, and then we'll be back here to kick it off with Miss Leonard's 4th grade class.
There, Maria, right there.
Hey, welcome back, Woodlawn family. We had somebody arrive from Miss Howard's 3rd grade class. That's right, Miss Howard's 3rd grade class. Okay, her name is Amaya Brox, and she has a poem that she wrote herself called From the Heart, a poem for my family. Let's give it up for Amaya. Come on up.
Roses are red, violets are blue. One thing is true, I love you. Happy is red, sad is blue. The second thing is, I'm lucky to have you. Hearts are red, the sky is blue. The third thing is, my heart beats for you. What can be red, what can be blue? Our family and cousin, this is so true.
Maya, that was great. Thank you very much. Now I proudly get to welcome this student to the stage. Not only did I get to spend a lot of time doing it this year, I also get to spend a lot of time in his classroom, and we've got to have a lot of fun talks and stuff walking through the hallways and spending time at recess, reading his poem called The Best Part of Me. From Miss Leonard's class, can I have Andrew Holter? Let's hear it for Andrew.
My hands hold what I eat and help me touch my feet. Sometimes they get dirty. Wait, no, that one. Sometimes they get dirty, and it's certainly not a party. So they're washed, and then my feet is soft. They draw when I play ball, and they'll be turned out to the wall. And give my friends high fives. Also helps me pray for others' lives.
So I knew something special was coming when Coach Miles gave us that setup, but man, he knocked that out of the park. One more round of applause for him. next up, we're going to hear a poem called My Brother by Shel Silverstein, one of my favorite poets, one of the classics. Everyone must read Shel Silverstein. He's right up there with Langston, in my opinion. Lilia, Deity, and Aaliyah, come on up.
My name is Deity. My name is Aaliyah. My name is Aaliyah. And today we'll be presenting a poem called My Brother. My brother is worth about 2 cents as far as I can see. I simply do not understand why they wouldn't want a heat. He's spending a part of his day asleep in his crib, and when he eats, he has to wear a stupid baby bib. He cannot walk, he cannot talk, he cannot throw a ball. In fact, he cannot do anything. He's just no fun at all. It would have more sensible as far as I can see. Instead of getting one like him, just get one like me.
Great job, girls, great job. I just want to make one more reminder. Any parents out there, just so you know, we do have a reserved seat for you if you'd like to videotape or take pictures of your performer tonight. Right here, Chris is pointing. Coming to the stage now is Andre Brown from Miss Leonard's class reading his poem titled Place.
He's placed on a cross, and then he's placed in a tomb, where he patiently waits there alone, for that morning to come, when he rises to be placed by God on his heavenly throne.
Okay, yes, and poets, feel free, as Andre did. You could tell he's an emerging MC/poet because he just came up and he made the mic his, right? Feel free to move this thing around. It seems a little stiff, but you can move it, make it work for you, and take as much time as you need to do that. Next up, we have a poem called I Taught My Cat to Clean My Room by Ken Nesbitt. And tonight we're going to hear that poem from Sarah Jenkins, Michaela Carney, Mason Calhoun, Jasmine Noble. Okay, and Jasmine Noble. Bring them on up.
I taught my cat to clean my room by Ken Nesbitt. I taught my cat to clean my room, to use a bucket, brush, and broom, to dust my clock and picture frames, and pick up all my toys and games.
He puts my pants and shirts away and makes my bed, and I would say, it seems to me it's only fair he puts away my underwear.
In fact, I think he's got it made. I'm not as happy with our trade. He may pick up our shoes and socks, but I clean out his box.
Well, that was great, and I'm pleased to announce that there's more of those wonderful poets to come. Coming right back to the stage with her poem titled Wonderland is Sarah Jenkins.
I see fluffy angel wings and the gleaming halo above an angel's head. I hear Alice coming down the rabbit hole and the Mad Hatter going mad. I hear the flutters of fairies' wings and the rabbit's clock going tick-tock, tick-tock. I hear the Queen of Hearts going off with their heads. Now trust me, it's noisy in Wonderland, but it's just all in my head.
Okay, and next up, we have Rapunzel by Ken Nesbitt, performed by Michaela Carney. Come on up, Michaela. Hold up. I'm going to do this again because I was totally disrespectful. Okay, so next up to the stage, we have Michaela Carney performing Rapunzel. Give it up for Michaela.
Rapunzel by Ken Nesbitt. Rapunzel, you've cut off your hair. Your billowing tresses are no longer there. That mohawk you're sporting is spiky and pink. I'm really not certain just what I should think. Prince Charming, Rapunzel replied. I have no intention of being your bride. We will not get married, we will not elope. I've cut off my hair and I've braided a rope. From then on, Rapunzel was known through the land. She toured the world in a rock and roll band. And silly Prince Charming with rocks in his head rode off and got married to Snow White instead.
Snow White's that number 2, right? Okay, so next up we have Darius Dent my bad, performing a poem with his mother titled Do It Anyway. And Darius is from Miss Nelson's second grade class, who's going to perform a two-voice poem with a fourth grader who could not make it tonight. So him and his mom are going to come up and do this lovely poem together. Come on up.
People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered.
Forgive them anyway.
If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish ulterior motives.
Be kind anyway.
If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies.
Succeed anyway.
If you are honest and frank, people may cheat on you.
Be honest and frank anyway.
What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight.
Build anyway.
If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous.
Be happy anyway.
The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow.
Do good anyway.
Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough.
Give the best you have. Give the best you got anyway.
You see, in the final analysis, it is between God and you. It is never between you and them anymore.
All right, now coming to the stage from Miss Freeman's class. This student, I feel bad about it. She spends most of her time in class with Coach Miles, standing like right next to her desk. Usually I'm in there. So I do feel bad. I hope I'm not too annoying, Anani. But please come to the stage and give us this poem. At the end of the day, Anani Franklin, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Franklin. I'm her mom.
Hi, my name is Anani Franklin, and me and my mom are going to be presenting the poem at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, there's decisions that gotta be made.
Bills that got to be paid.
Children that gotta be taken care of, no matter what. Things we have to buy to survive off of.
We take care of business.
How it's supposed to be.
To know when.
To know how.
And to know
Who to see at the end of the day. At the end of the day, we live, we laugh, we love more. We live, we laugh, we love more. There's no reason.
no reason to be stressed.
And there's no reason to have shame. Or there's no reason to have blame. But have a reason to be blessed. So stop pointing fingers.
Start giving hugs.
More sharing and caring, and we killing the violence. Because at the end of the day, all we have is us. At the end of the day.
Right, so nobody said poetry was easy, right? To come up here, stand in front of this bright light, get on the mic, your voice is amplified. So let's give Nani and Mommy another round of applause. All right. Okay, so next up, also from Miss Freeman's fourth grade class, we have Homework, a poem by Jack Perlutsky, but we're going to hear Anani Franklin and Michelle Quintanilla come and perform for us. Let's give it up for them. Let's go.
Homework, oh homework, I hate you, you stink. I wish I could wash you away in the sink. If only a bomb could explode you to bits. Homework, oh homework, you give me fits. I'd rather take a bath with a man-eating shark or wrestle a lion alone in the dark. Eat spinach and liver, pet ted porcupine, then tackle the homework my teacher assigns. Homework, oh homework, you're last on my list. I simply can see why you even sit. If you just disappeared, it would tickle me. Homework, oh homework, I hate you, stink.
Actually, I want to ask those from Miss Fuller's class, and actually the first poem has students from Miss Flores' class. Please make your way over this way to where Coach Miles is at. let's give it up one more time for the 4th grade poets who came out tonight. Thank you. Okay, so first up we have an original poem called Tight Shoes, being performed by Jasmine Ware, Jay Sean Glass, and CJ Glass. Come on up. Oh, 2 of them are not here? Okay, Jasmine, can you handle this? Yeah. All right, Jasmine.
Tight shoes, cooler than an ice cube. Tight shoes, cooler than an ice cube. My daddy bought me tight shoes, they always cooler than an ice cube. I wear Jordans, extra badass. I go to school looking clean all day, so I'm gonna rap all day like this. Oh, tight shoes, looking cooler than an ice cube. Tight shoes, cooler than an ice cube.
You carried the team right there. Thank you very much. Way to represent, Jasmine. Okay, so next up from Miss Fuller and from Miss Nelson's class, we have Soraya Peterson and Jordan Ryan performing the poem Ickle Me, Pickle Me, Tickle Me Too by my man, Joe Silverstein. Come on up.
Cover your nose, because this poem stinks. Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. One for a white and flying away.
What fun, it's time we flew, said Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. Ickle was the captain, Pickle was the crew.
Tickles of coffee and McGilligan stew, as higher and higher and higher they flew. Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too.
Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. Over the sun and beyond the blue.
Hold on, stay in, I hope we do quite ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too.
Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. Never return to the world they knew. And nobody knows what happened to dear. Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too.
All right, coming to the stage from Miss Fuller's class, I also had the privilege to coach this very talented basketball player that played with girls basketball this year. Reading a poem from Shel Silverstein called The Edge of the World, Araya Boyd.
Columbus said the world was round. Don't you believe a word of that. For I've been down to the edge of the world, sat on the edge where the wild wind whirled, peeked over the ledge where the blue smoke curls. And I can tell you, boys and girls, the world is flat.
All right, coming back to the stage, always a pleasure to hear what he's got. From Miss Fuller's class, reading his piece called Woodlawn, Jasmine Ware.
Alright, go Woodlawn. I'm trying to sit rap all my life. I'm going everywhere trying to fly my kite. I'm in here trying to feel my vibe. I'm on the stage rapping like every night. I hate Joe Flacco. I like the nigga, so I play 2K. I do it every day. I got a Bugatti. I am not stunning. I chill with my mom when I am super pound. Cause I'm at Woodlawn, at Woodlawn, at Woodlawn. Cause I'm at Woodlawn, at Woodlawn, at Woodlawn. And we are the Wildcats, are the Wildcats, are the Wildcats. And we are the Wildcats, are the Wildcats, are the Wildcats. I go to Woodlawn, I hang with Jay Sean, he's my homie. I like Woodlawn, I've been rapping all day, so I'm done for today. Cause I'm at Woodlawn, at Woodlawn, at Woodlawn. Cause I'm at Woodlawn, at Woodlawn, at Woodlawn. And we are the Wildcats, are the Wildcats. And we are the Wildcats, are the Wildcats, are the Wildcats.
Got some hip hop up in here. I just want to give a shout out to everybody that I saw clapping, which was not all of you, but thank you to those of you who were, because that's how we do. Okay. Next up, this is like a crew joint right here. Okay, so it's called Friends. This is an original poem. We have Eliana Hanna, Yurida Scott Eladi, and Melissa Mateo, and Apache and Mary. Come on up and represent.
Friends, we use that word a lot, but what does it really mean? Does it mean to talk about someone behind their back, or does it mean to have someone's back?
Does it mean to judge someone because of their flaws, or to realize without those flaws they wouldn't be the same?
Does a friend use someone for their money or know that all that money can't make it real friendship? A friend is nice, kind, respectful, and a boss.
I know the cool and crazy side. That is
a
true friend.
Great job, great job. Coming back to the stage, this time reading her own piece titled New Orleans, Mariah Boyd.
As the grass was turning into a burnt brown look, I was in the car with my arm against the leather of the door, as my skin heating up to feel like burnt sausage, as I try and forget about the great pain. I look out the half-cracked window, staring at the bayou. While the sun was glistening against the dirty water, I realized, leaving this place and thinking, will I ever have beignets again? Or will I ever have my hair braided so tight that my temples hurt? Or will I ever have turkey neck or alligator or crawfish? Or look at people and see beautiful, weird, funky, jazzy, or cool? But then I realize I'm no different. With Katrina by my side, I wonder if I'll ever come back.
That was neat. I really like that. Nice to take on serious. It was great. If I could now ask all of our mid-level poets to quietly and responsibly make your way toward the stage where Mr. G and Mr. Sally are. Coming to the stage from Miss Fuller and Miss Mann's class, formerly Miss Fuller's class too. I've got Eurydice Scott and Lisa Hyden Green.
This poem is called Too Much. Love has hurt me in a way too much, for the pain is more than I can bear. The more I think, the more it hurts. I try not to remember, for the past is closer than I think. Forgetting is not an option. I must live the rest of my life in agony. Love is the worst. Love is worth everything. But in the end, you always remember that one person who took your heart and broke it.
This poem is called Too Late. It's too late. To the one who got away clouding my days, there's just one thing left to say. To the one who didn't know my feelings would ever grow, there's just one thing left to show. To the one who always was there, but at times it seemed that I just didn't care, there's just one thing left to share. To the girl who taught me how to love all things in life just because there's one thing left to solve. My heart and soul was always with you, and thought it's too late for I to say I want to say I love you.
I'd like to present one of the first students from our after-school slam booth that Mr. Reiser eloquently described. It was a wonderful experience for me. I know it was for Mr. Reiser as well as the students. I saw Mr. Tyler here somewhere. We all had a great time getting to share poetry once a week, twice a week with all of these kids. This very talented poet is reading her piece called The Gates from Miss Mann's class, Monica Aguilar.
It's over now. There's no more purpose for my lungs, because I am not breathing. If I felt like I was alive, then I think I was dreaming. But I left the earth. My soul's escaping my body now. I'm dead. I am rising into heavens to find out what lies ahead. For life is sober, and my time is spent on earth. There's no more stressing. I'm about to meet the one who gave me all the life and blessings. Now is the time to hear his voice, and it's time to feel his embrace. And it's the time to be my God, that it's time to see his face. I'm at the gate, and I don't want to wait. I want to see my Savior. I'm feeling his presence, have his safety, and beg in his favor. Wait, they open up the gate, and sunlight dances through the entrance. If I was alive, I will pass out from the beauty of his presence. I can sense him all around me. I can feel him every place. He's here. I feel it, but it's not enough. I want to see his face. They close the gates as I walk in. No, now any memories are useless. Anything earthly is worthless, because no other can produce this so much color. The wind and sun, the love and music, so much happiness. God loves us. God loves us in His paradise. Can prove it. Where's He at though? I just want to see His face. I will be around it. I was walking the streets of gold, but I don't get my crown yet. Wait, I feel something. I turn around, and I catch eyes with his. I have never seen him before, but I still know who he is. Right now, I'm face to face with Jesus, looking God right in the eyes. Immediately I bow, and if I was alive, I would have cried. But God is always right beside me. I see Him. I can touch Him. I saw Him. I praise Him, magnify Him because I love Him. And I tell Him, you're my King. This happiness cannot be doubled. You're my rock, my life, my ever-present help in times of trouble. And I love you. God, I love you. For eternity, I'll show you. But He looks at me in the eyes, and then He whispers, do I know you? Do you know me? Yeah, you made me. I was in church every service. But He tells me, church without applying what you learned is worthless. But I was choir member. I preached you in poems and in acting. And He says, He checked the book of life, and my name was absent. And I am laughing like there must be a mistake. I just won't hear it. Then he said, I praised Him, but I didn't have Him in my spirit. I can't bear it. Lord, I thought I gave you praise wholeheartedly. And He turns His head away. Then He says, depart from me. I start to scream, but it's too late. Immediately I feel flames. I am ashamed. It is me to blame. I could have stopped all this pain. Life ended like this for me. This ain't how I want it to conclude. That's why in real life, it won't be. But don't let it be your future. You may go to church, but man, you got to live it. Don't be two-faced. Don't be hypocrites. Guys, don't be dogs and ladies. Don't be zoo states. We ain't got no time for right now. So drop the game and lift your hands and let Him, and before it ends, let us praise Him while we have the chance.
Just tell me you didn't finish that before the last slam boot, because I hadn't heard that before. That was incredible. One more round of applause for Monica. Okay, so these are two students who are in my homeroom class, 7B, Language Arts and Social Studies. Asma is new to us this year. She came to Portland all the way from Syria. And she's the one who wrote this poem tonight called My Father. And she's going to read it in Arabic, and then Michael Grau is going to read it in English. So let's give it up for Asma Mohammed and Michael Grau.
سافرنا من عزلة لعزلة وتركنا بابا وحيد. كثير صعب العزلة وخصوصا يوم العيد. يا ليتك معنا يا بابا، أنا وأنت الإيد بالإيد. نرجع تاني.
We traveled from the isolation to isolation, and we left my dad alone. The isolation is very difficult. I wish you would be with us, Baba, you and I, hand in hand. Once again, we return to our homeland, and we reconstruct a new home. We live with our people and sing sweeter anthem, rejoice, play, and sing, especially in the day of the Eid.
I I've been asked to call up the next poet, and I'm going to say this name, and you should mark it because this person is bound for greatness. Miss Jalea Jointer.
She's already a diva.
So I originally wrote this poem. And it's called Ain't No Freedom. I long for the reminder of safety, but I'm yet to get it. I beg for assurance that we won't be judged because of the colors of our skins. I yearn for advancement of learning, causing us students, children, adults, grown-ups, or whatever you call them, to think big. I fight for love, but when do I fight for freedom? I'm settling for what's going on because so is everyone else around me. We thought just because slavery was over means we are free, but yet we stay tied down by laws, media, materials, and overall money. Do you think people like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, and so many more fought for freedom so that we were only to screw it up over some dang stereotypes and for us to want to be accepted? So to heck with acceptance. They didn't accept any African-American woman when she was pregnant, bent over in the hot sun picking cotton. They didn't accept any African-American human when they split them up from their families, selling them like some candy from the corner store. We are not free. Freedom does not exist here and now.
That's a pretty tough one to follow. Great job, Julia. Pretty soon you will be blessed with a quick piece from Chris Reiser. I'm just going to warm up the stage as quick as I can with a piece that I wrote. I performed it last year. It's called Bright Gray. Shouldn't be no surprise that I'm confused all the time, having to choose like some race you think I'd lose. I don't know how it started or why so much gets disregarded. Once upon a night, actually, many times this happened, I'd meet somebody new and eventually they'd end up asking, "What are you, man?" I can't tell. No, really, he'd really ask that. And I just smile and say back, "I'm like you, man. I'm a person." And then I saw his brain start working. Sure, my looks convey a misconception, and my answer to this question will change this guy's impression. He knew that I'm a person. He was asking about my people, and instead of saying white or black, I explained, I'm equal. I want to say end of story, but I kind of have a sequel. I express it all the time with lead, the stuff inside my head barely covering what I should have said. I'm simply not two halves, you see. I completely make the whole, indeed. And here's some stuff that really needs consideration. I must say, to my dismay, that nothing's perfect in this nation. Take the way how some surveys ask for racial information, or how I've been contemplating this complication of action through affirmation, and how it will affect my child's college registration. Now, the brain's generally two parts. If my anatomy's right, I've got one heart. So as the blacks and whites embark, aside from this cloud of dark driving us apart, like Jim Crow laws and bad remarks, try to find the light within this cloud of dark. Perhaps I'm white, perhaps I'm black. Call me whatever, as a matter of fact. And in case this spurs a question as to where I'm at, don't think I would ignore you. There's love between blacks and whites, and it's standing right before you. And last, but not least, the one and only Chris Reiser.
Okay, so let me ask, I have a nice, lovely poem, and then I have something that's a little more serious. If you would like the nice, lovely poem, give me a little applause. If you would like something a little bit more serious, this is something that I wrote actually for a program called Juvenile Justice. It's a capstone class that you can take at Portland State University, where I visited youth in McLaren Detention Facility down in Hubbard, Woodburn, on a regular, actually we toured that facility, and then we spent an hour a week with youth detained at Donald E. Long Detention Facility. And the week that we came in, we helped these kids write and draw, and then we just generally hung out with them. And they were given a theme for this journal that was published specifically for youth in detention all around the country. And the theme was the menace to society. And after spending time with those students, this is what I wrote. And look, I just did the same thing. The menace is society, executing the vanguard at the margins, boasting of rebellion as womb and motherly bosom, while blaming artful children surviving for starving, while placing Kucinich at the edge of our television, dismissing collectivism and leaving the Green Party in the streets, the block, the corner, the hood, swept clean of the garbage, put in prisons, out of sight, out of mind. But for the glorified gangsters that run this system, yes, society is the menace. You and me are too pained to see the lives of misery we've erected with our taxes and fees, all so that we can feel free, so that I can obtain my degree in peace, without fear of that black Mexican Muslim menace on TV. News at 11 and 3. There lies a complex of fortresses of inhabitants force-fed and told when to rest their heads, when to make their beds, when to take their meds, when to pee. Cries unheard, a silent violence. Listen. Society is roaming like an Avery mob, pitchfork, torch, rope, hiding our eyes from the works of our hands, politicians playing up society's demands. Lock them up and throw away the key. It could have happened to me. Almost happened to my man Hanif. Society's the super predator drones, opening up markets like missiles do homes, like AR-15s do skulls to let competitors roam free. Meanwhile, behind the guileless highway wall, we've locked down some little G's. We condemned our little B's. We make no amends when their sentences end. We gave them no skills with which to pay their bills, but the senators scream it from the hill. Get rich or die trying. Bernie Madoff, Ken Lay, Jack Abramoff, Henry Paulson, Tim Geithner, House of Bush, welcome to Gangster Zion. Where rich white boys can get their white-collar crime on, but the minute my man tries to get his nickel and dime on, we fire on him with firearms and tasers, pepper spray and hog-tie, concrete walls where that little spark of God dies, most times. We point our fat little finger and say we see the problem. We picked him out of the lineup. But let me tell you before my time's up, let me remind you that our time's up. We lay waste to the woods to grow prisons from the hood, staring at the barefaced emaciation of public education and wonder why our children are up to no good, our families breaking down because they don't act like we should. You best believe it's all connected, like the links in a necklace, a shackle, my attention span at my breakfast, the fabric in a headdress. We're murdering our mama while shots pop locked on the block, prop the plots of our news cycle melodrama. The menace is society, but when she lied to me, I try to be on point, turning back her tide that penetrates my mind. I try to remember the joints piled high with juvenile lives trying to survive behind doors locked from the inside. I try to break in and let their minds escape, let their spirits fly, show them the future is as wide as the sky on a flat, open plain, cloudless to the eye. Go see this thing for yourself, this monster we maintain, and ask yourself if you wouldn't do the same. No more prisons. Okay, so I want to thank you guys all. We want to thank you all for coming out to make this another successful, incredible Woodlawn Poetry and Art Night. I want to give a special shout out to Miss Bridget O'Hagan. She has been the mastermind behind this. Every year, the ambiance, the candles, the carpet, the backdrop, all of this that you see, the spotlight, this is all out of the mind of Miss O'Hagan. Okay, so we just want to give her love and let her know we thank you. Also want to say that right now at this time, we still see both of our administrators here. Ms. Porter Lopez and Mr. Neves are still here. Every event that I come to, they're still here. Thank you. But most of all, thank you to parents and families who come out, who bring your children to us so that we can do what we can in the time that we have to teach them what they need to know in order to survive in this world. So thank you guys for coming out and for being who you are. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you. I would just like to acknowledge that a lot of these hardworking teachers and aforementioned administrators have to be here in less than 12 hours. So without further ado, if we could kindly calmly leave without leaving any trash at the break. Kiddos, there was a lot of stuff on the ground, and I know we try to remind you to pick up. We know you better than that. So if there is any trash that you could help pick up, I think we will just be moving our way out. Thank you very much for coming, ladies.